Hi, this video is about the command pattern. Here's the definition. So the command pattern encapsulates a request as an object. So it's not only a method call, but you could say that you are taking a method call and turning it into an object. So this allows you to make different sort of requests, queue and log requests, and support undoable operations. So here's the UML. So first up, we have our client here that is using a receiver that is commanded by the invoker. So the command is usually an interface that contains one method called execute. This class or interface is then implemented as a concrete command that contains the execute method as well as the state. Of course, if you have to have a receiver here, the receiver has to be uh, the command has to know about your receiver in order to invoke the action, as is shown here. So why command pattern? Well, if you think that you can implement multiple commands or methods within one command, so it will ensure you will do multiple actions in a queue. So it's a macro. You can create a macro via a list of commands, actions, or keystrokes in your program. So queue commands, redo, undo actions, etc. Lots of different things can be done with it. So let's make an example. So first up with the UML diagram, a new class diagram, and what I'll be doing here is a game where I am a general who can issue commands to different sort of troops. My troops will be cavalry and infantry. So think of it as a general who is sending messages to his troops. First up, what I'm gonna need is that said general. And only one method, issue order. So I will be having a general who can issue orders. What sort of orders then, you might ask? Well, here what we need is the command with the small o. And as I said, with the definition, we need the execute method inside the command. So the general is using commands. Of course, the general doesn't have the commands hidden anywhere, but this issue order should contain the command we want to use. So we have two choices. One, we can save all the possible commands to the general, or we can just tell what command to use as a parameter. This way of doing it is a little bit more light, and it allows more flexibility when creating different sort of commands. General has one command at a time, basically. Then let's create some concrete commands. So as I said, I'll be having a cavalry and an infantry. So I want to say to my cavalry that you attack. I want to say the same thing to my infantry. And of course, instead of attacking, I want to retreat, so I have the retreat command. Then we can implement all those 3 commands and add the execute methods there, like that. So then, as I mentioned with the UML here, within the command we have to know about the receiver. So let's first create those cavalry and infantry, so it'll make things easier. So there's the cavalry and infantry. And of course, the infantry can attack and they can also retreat. Same thing here, attack and retreat. Then, so the cavalry attack command should know about the cavalry it is about to command. So we'll add a variable called cav, data type cavalry, and in the infantry command, same thing. We add the infantry there. And with the retreat command, the idea is that when called retreat, both cavalry and infantry are retreating at the same time. So let's add both of those there. And of course, when you are making these commands, you want to assign the variables when initialized. So we'll add constructors with 1 parameter, or in the case of retreat command, we'll give it 2 parameters. And here with the infantry. There. Then we have the variables here. So of course we want to add connections. So we have our infantry at command and we are targeting the infantry class. 1 command, 1 infantry unit. And the same thing with the others, like this. So now we have composition from infantry pointing to infantry attack command as well as the retreat command. And with the cavalry, same thing, composition both ways. And now we basically have what we need to implement everything. So we have a general who is commanding everything with different sort of commands. And we have the units that are being commanded. Just one addition here called a main class that will be using the general class. There and done. Now just add the main method. Make it static. And there. Now we can make this in Java to see how it actually works. Let's generate the code from here. And we have everything now. So first up, we'll start from bottom down. So let's start with infantry and cavalry. They have just the two methods. So in order to test them, let's just print something out. There, and the same thing with the cavalry. Something very simple. There. Now, when we're going bottom up, let's take these three commands next. So cavalry attack, infantry attack, and retreat. Cavalry attack first. So here in the constructor, we just assign the parameter into the variable, and in the execute method, try to remember that this is attack command, so we're just saying that cav.attack. So we are masking this attack call as execute. So the general knows what execute he's calling, but it doesn't matter what the cavalry is calling it, so this makes it so much simpler for the general. And the same thing with the infantry. And in the execute method, we are just calling attack. And then to the retreat part. So let's set the variables. And when we're saying execute, we can just call both of those. So we take the retreat. So we can queue our operations here inside the execute command. Then the general class. We're not actually returning a command, but a void. So now we take the command as a parameter. So we can just say c.execute and we're done. In the main class, we can then say which order we want to execute. So let's jump there and let's do the things. So let's first create general, cavalry, and infantry. So we have the general here, cavalry, and infantry all done. Then create the commands. So first up command. So we call the cavalry attack command, we assign. Now done. Cavalry there. Same thing with infantry attack. And then the retreat. Give them both units. Then the general wants to make a full attack, so first up the general sends his cavalry or her cavalry, don't care. And after the cavalry has been either destroyed or successful, the infantry will go and take care of everything that's left. And then the enemy actually makes a surprise attack, so the general wants to run away, so we're just going retreat. And we should be happy with that. And does this work? Let's try. So we should have 4 lines of prints. Okay, so the cavalry is charging as issued, the infantry marches forward, and then we have 2. First of the cavalry is running away, and then the infantry has left the building. So this is how the command pattern actually works. So without depending on how the program works. We just have commands that have execute methods that actually invoke other methods from other classes.